to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit.
Hello, all Antiochian men in the Diocese of Miami in the Southeast. We are back with another episode of Ask Father Hans. Father Hans, once again, good morning.
Good morning, Michael.
Here's our next question for you. Watching live streams of services has been great, but it's not the same as being in church. I find it much harder to focus on a service that is being live streamed, and I'm much more easily distracted. What should I do?
It shows us a principle we're not aware of, okay, except in situations like this. We're not prepared for the divine liturgy on Sunday if we're not praying during the week. We just aren't. And I could see that sometimes with people who are impatient during the liturgy. It's because they're not praying during the week. That's why they're not preparing themselves. What this is showing us is that the necessity of private prayer during the week, that you have to take time every single day to pray and to seek God. We don't have the services, so what is necessary to do? What is necessary to do is to increase your prayer. Look, the Lord does not withhold himself from us. He's done everything he could do to bring us salvation. When it says in Scripture, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, what else could he have done? That's the way that salvation is effected. We have to trust in his benevolence. However, it requires on our part an increasing self-discipline in order to receive that grace that he offers. So yes, we miss the liturgy, but we are not bereft of prayer. I think a lot of what it must have been like in the Soviet Union when the churches were closed and people were lucky to have a liturgy, and it had to be a clandestine liturgy once or twice a year. How did they maintain their faith? The truth is a lot of people didn't. They were crushed by the suffering, but some did. And how did they do it? They maintained their communion with God through prayer. The prayer will sustain you until the liturgy comes back. And if we are faithful in this, and we take this, in a sense, the suffering is an opportunity. If we take this opportunity to become more disciplined in our lives, to focus more on the inside, to seek God more, what will happen is when the liturgy is finally restored, you're going to come and you're going to see it in a dimension that you have never seen it before. Understand this, that we don't go to the liturgy for what we might receive. Now, we think that way because we're Americans. We're used to receiving goods and services. American culture is very good at that. You know, I'm not criticizing that. I'm saying that it establishes a pattern of thinking where we forget that the liturgy is actually what we offer unto God. That's what it is. When we come and worship God, we bless God. That's what we do. And we come to worship not to receive, we come to worship to give. And in that giving of our worship, God in return gives us his life through the Eucharist. Now, we tend to think we come to church to receive the Eucharist. No, we come to church to worship God, to bless him. In that blessing, he returns to us his life. And maybe, just maybe, that this suffering, this absence from the Eucharist that is imposed on us will wake us up to that fact. So do your private prayers at home, especially with your family. But remember this, if you're not praying alone, you're not going to end up praying with your family either. It always starts with you, men. It does. As father of the family, as leader of the family, if you're not married, it still starts with you. Do pray your prayers, and it will sustain you. It will sustain you, and it will keep you strong until the liturgy is restored to us.
Open to me the doors of repentance, O life giver. For my soul goes early to the temple of thy holiness, coming in the temple of my body, O